tell us what's going on at InfoWars. So now you guys are able to broadcast until basically June 14th. Is that the latest? Can you fill us in?
Yeah, so the next big court date is June 14th. I think that either by the end of the day, June 14th, or on the 15th, we'll know for sure what the future of InfoWars is. It's not really my story to tell. It's not really my legacy to leave. Yeah. So I leave that to Alex. I'm just going to continue to perform my duties here at InfoWars until I have no more duties. So in other words, I'm going to go down with the ship should that be the case. But I'd say it's a very real prospect that this is probably maybe the final month that InfoWars is on air. I think that that's a very real prospect. And so that kind of puts a end cap on the legend of InfoWars and Alex Jones, but not really of Alex. It's not like they can silence him. They can take InfoWars down and shut it off air. So really it'll just be the end of InfoWars, the end of that legacy, the end of that iconic broadcasting network that I'm here sitting in the studio.
One of the cornerstones of. You're a cornerstone of it. You're being modest. You've only gone live on the air about 6 days a week for the past 5 years. I mean, or longer than that. How many years you worked there? 7 years?
8 years.
8 years, excuse me. That's what I'm saying. And you've only worked 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. So you put your heart and soul. I don't think you should be so modest. I mean, you definitely carried InfoWars into its next generation. Alex obviously started off on public broadcasting and then, got on terrestrial radio, then got huge on YouTube, then got canceled on YouTube. And I think you've carried the torch since the cancellation, I would argue, Owen.
I would say that, probably you've got 2 weeks guaranteed here at InfoWars. And I hope that if and when it shuts down, that the rest of the media finally takes it seriously. Because InfoWars has been the testing ground, the first to hit the barbed wire on so many different issues, on censorship, on lawfare, with me getting imprisoned as a journalist. Now
you guys got Trump in the White House. Owen, I mean, basically, I think InfoWars is what put me, that's what got me Trump-pilled. Alex deserves a lot of credit.
Certainly that has to do with probably a lot of the punishment that we're going for is for that. And it's not even about necessarily Trump per se. That was just the timing of it all. It's about an independent, grassroots, not controlled news organization with its audience and its guests being able to have such an impact that it can change the course of an election. So that's the punishment here. They only want the big mainstream networks to have any control over the outcome, any influence over the outcome. And so that's really what it's all about. And this is what the next level censorship is all about too, because it used to be the ability to reach millions of people was only for a very select few. And you could only do that if you were on a couple networks. Now anybody can reach millions of people. Anybody can pick up a phone and reach millions of people. In fact, Sam is kind of a perfect example, be it in a different spectrum, with just his family and what they do and other people that like that content and, maybe try to mimic some of the things that they do to have a happy, loving life. So they can't have that. They can't have an individual with the power to reach millions and influence elections. And so that's what the censorship is about. That's why InfoWars was the test case. They want it to be only for the select few. And in a larger issue, here's what's also important to understand. The whole concept of the leftist government power grab, totalitarian, authoritarian bent is that you can't govern yourself. The concept of self-government is so foreign to the left. They hate it. Yep. They want to be able to govern you. Well, so you can't reach millions of people. That's too dangerous. You can't organically build a platform that reaches millions and has major political influence. That's too dangerous. You can't be trusted with that. You have to trust the experts. It's kind of like that MSNBC clip where they say, we're here to tell you what to think. We're here to tell you what's going on. You can't be trusted with that. So that's kind of the larger thing, but really just to direct it, they don't want an organic influence on American politics. But there's nothing they can do now. Even if they shut InfoWars down, I'm not going to stop being live 3 to 6 p.m. every day. Whether it has to be on X or Rumble, the only platforms I'm not banned on, then I'll go there. And I'm sure there'll be other people that are going to want to pick up my content and my show.
For sure.
And I'm sure the same thing goes for Alex. But again, nobody really took it seriously when the censorship, then we saw everybody getting censored. Nobody really took it seriously with the lawfare. Now all these other news networks, Elon Musk, all these people are getting sued. So I just hope if they do close the doors here, that maybe that'll finally be the red alert that gets other people in the media to say, okay, there really is a problem here.
Yeah.
And just like InfoWars was the test case for everything else, we better realize that they're going to come for us next.
Well, Owen, I consider you a good friend. You've helped me out so much. We talked about how you're one of the first people to even give me some shine, share my clips. And just listening to you right now, I can tell that you're affected and that you do think that this is the end. And I'm not trying to call you out, but I feel like that this is over. Is this really how it is? I want to think like they're not going to put Trump in jail, and I want to think that InfoWars is not going to end. But it sounds like Trump is going to go to jail, and it sounds like InfoWars is going to end, and it's going to make me absolutely sick, Owen.
I'd say the odds are yes to both those things. I'd say 51% chance Trump gets put in jail. I don't even know if I want to put a percentage on the odds that InfoWars get shut down in 2 weeks, but yeah, it's a very real thing. I've come to terms with it. Should we get another year or more, then I'll just consider that a blessing. I already take every minute here at InfoWars. I don't take a minute, rather, I should say, I don't take a minute here at InfoWars for granted. So, but yeah, I've already kind of accepted it. And in a way, it's almost like, I don't know if there could even be a conclusion to InfoWars. I don't know if it gets much more epic than that.
That's
I don't know
true.
if it gets
the government shutting it down. I think that kind of sends a message. It is like if we were writing a Hollywood script or whatever, the counterculture media company that is, breaking the rules does get shut down by the censorship of the government. Like it kind of proves it proves you right and the government wrong. It's kind of a beautiful story, but with a very sad ending.
Yeah, and it's not just about me or Alex. There's a whole crew that works here. There's crew that has family. There's crews. There's members here of the crew. That are going to be basically pushed out here. And I don't know what kind of infrastructure we can have out of the gates to bring people back. So it's more than just Alex. It's more than just me. But like I said, we know the times we live in. We deal with we're probably in the most corrupt government in the history of the United States of America right now. And so with that, yeah, they're going to arrest their top political opposition. They're going to shut down the most organic grassroots political influence in the media. I don't know why we would expect anything differently.
Well, Owen, tell me this. I saw Marjorie Taylor Greene posting about InfoWars, and I've seen very few conservative politicians, and then the conservatives also put in the anti-Semitism bill that, to me, goes way too far. Do you feel like you haven't got support on the right as well, Owen?
Well, that's kind of where I'm sending the clarion call here. I don't even care if you like Alex or not. This is about, this is what authoritarian regimes have done throughout human history. And people always say, oh, they'll never do that in America. They'll never get away with that in America. But they are now. They are getting away with that now. And so I think that that's the message here. So it's not about whether you support Alex or not. It's about, do you support the First Amendment? Do you support organic, independent media existing with major influence in the political landscape? So I'm not surprised. The American right is afraid of their own shadow most of the time. Marjorie Taylor Greene, obviously not. But there's a new right forming. There's a new brand of right-wing American politics forming. I think that the old guard right-wing politics goes with Trump, whether that's another 4 years in the White House or whether he doesn't win this election. That's the end of the old guard right. This is the final run of the old guard right. In fact, they're kind of lucky. That generation of conservatives is kind of lucky that they got Trump here in their final moments so that they weren't a total embarrassment and a total letdown for the American people. But they're kind of lucky that Trump has kind of given them like a last shot of, all right, your generation didn't completely blow it. But I think that's it. The old guard right is done with Trump. They're done. And I think there's a couple examples you could point to. Bill O'Reilly leaves Fox News. He was the #1 rated host, and now
Tucker.
He's basically irrelevant. I don't know. Nobody talks about Bill O'Reilly anymore. So I think when Trump goes, that's the end of the old guard right. And it's not going to be right wingers and conservatives that are afraid of their own shadow. It's going to be people that sound more like Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's going to be people that present themselves with policies more like Vivek Ramaswamy. And it'll be talk show hosts that cover news more like me.
I'm so fly, I'm aligned with the planes. My grind so refined, I got no time for no games. Ask yourself